What if the greatest mystery in the Outlander universe is not about traveling through time, but about the moment when two women from different generations finally come face to face? Blood of my blood. Season 2 may be setting up a reunion that fans never thought was possible. Julia Moriston, lost between time and destiny, could finally meet Claire Fraser, the woman who understands the impossible journey she has been forced to take. But this reunion may come with a dangerous secret, because finding Claire could change everything Julia knows about the Stones, her family, and her future. If this happens, it will not just connect two stories. It could rewrite the entire history of the Fraser family. After the emotional events of the first season, Blood of My Blood, Season 2 has left fans with one major question: where did Julia and William go after reaching the Stones? Their journey has always been connected to the same mystery that shaped the world of Outlander, the strange power of time travel and the choices people make when love forces them to cross impossible boundaries. Season 1 introduced Julia and Henry as a couple willing to risk everything for each other. Their love story was not simple. They were separated by circumstances, family conflicts, and the unstoppable force of history itself. But the biggest challenge came when the Stones became their only hope. The possibility of traveling through time offered them a chance to escape their problems, but it also created the biggest danger of all. They could lose each other forever. Now, with Season 2 approaching, the biggest theory surrounding the story is that Julia and her son William may have successfully traveled through the Stones, leaving Henry behind in his own time. If that happens, Julia would suddenly find herself in a world she does not understand, searching for answers about where she is and how she can return to the man she loves. But this is where Claire Fraser could become the key. Throughout the Outlander story, Claire has been one of the few people who truly understands the power and danger of the Stones. She knows that time travel is not just a gift. It is a responsibility filled with risks, secrets, and consequences. She understands the fear of leaving behind everything familiar and waking up in a completely different era. That is why a meeting between Claire and Julia would be so powerful. Both women would share something almost impossible to explain to anyone else. They both know what it feels like to be pulled away from their original lives and forced to survive in a world that was never meant to be theirs. Imagine Julia arriving in Claire's time and realizing that she is not alone. For the first time, she could meet someone who does not question her story or think she has lost her mind. Claire could understand exactly what happened to her because she has lived through a similar experience. But the reunion would not only be emotional, it could also reveal answers that have been hidden for years. Julia has always been searching for a way back to Henry. However, she may discover that returning through the Stones is far more complicated than she imagined. Claire knows that time travel does not always happen when people want it to happen. The Stones have their own rules, and even those who understand them cannot fully control their power. This could create one of the most interesting conflicts in Season 2. Julia might finally find Claire, but instead of receiving an easy solution, she could learn that getting back to Henry may require a sacrifice. The trailer clues have already caused fans to question whether Julia and William are the ones who traveled through time, or whether Henry somehow found a way to follow them. The mystery surrounding the Stones has always been built around uncertainty, and Blood of My Blood appears ready to continue that tradition. The possibility of Claire meeting Julia also creates a connection between the past and future of the Fraser family. Claire has always protected her family by understanding history and changing what she can. Julia, meanwhile, is at the beginning of that journey. She is discovering that love, family, and destiny are connected in ways she never expected. A reunion between these two characters could become more than just a surprise moment for fans. It could explain how certain family secrets began, why some events in history unfolded the way they did, and how the choices of one generation affected another. However, there is also a darker side to this possibility. If Julia reaches Claire's timeline, it means she may have escaped one danger only to enter another. History is full of conflicts, and Claire knows better than anyone that changing even one small event can create unexpected consequences. Julia may believe that finding Claire means finding safety, but she could unknowingly place herself and William in the middle of a much larger battle. At the same time, Henry's storyline becomes even more heartbreaking. If he is separated from Julia and William, his search for them could become the emotional center of Season 2. The question is whether he will discover a way to follow them, or whether he will have to survive without the family he fought so hard to protect. The idea of Claire and Julia meeting creates endless possibilities. It brings together two characters connected by love, sacrifice, and the mystery of time itself. It could give Julia the answers she needs, but it could also open doors to new dangers that nobody expects. Blood of My Blood, Season 2 has the chance to expand the Outlander universe in a major way. Instead of simply telling another love story from the past, it could connect generations and finally reveal how the choices of one family member shaped the future of everyone who came after them. And if Claire truly becomes the person who guides Julia through this impossible journey, their reunion may become one of the most unforgettable moments in the entire franchise. The biggest mystery heading into Blood of My Blood Season 2 is not only where Julia and William ended up, but what the Stones have truly chosen for them. For years, the Stones have remained one of the most fascinating parts of the Outlander universe. They connect different generations, different timelines, and different stories, but they have never been completely understood. Even Claire, someone who has experienced time travel more than once, still does not have all the answers. That is what makes Julia's journey so interesting. Unlike Claire, Julia did not spend years learning about the Stones or preparing for the possibility of leaving her own time behind. Her decision was driven by love, desperation, and the need to protect her child. She was not searching for adventure. She was searching for a way to survive, but the Stones may have taken her somewhere she never expected. If Julia truly arrives in Claire's timeline, her first challenge will be accepting the reality of what has happened. Imagine waking up in a world completely different from your own, surrounded by people who know nothing about your past. The only person who could truly understand that fear would be Claire. This is why their possible reunion feels so important. Claire would not see Julia as someone who is confused or lost. She would recognize the signs immediately. She would understand the fear, the loneliness, and the impossible decision of choosing between two worlds. But there is another reason this meeting could be important. Julia may hold information that Claire never had before. Every time someone travels through the Stones, they bring pieces of their own history with them. Their memories, their experiences, and their knowledge of the future can become powerful tools. Julia's arrival could reveal secrets about the Fraser family that even Claire never knew. She may know details about the future that could completely change how Claire views her own family's destiny. The question is whether those secrets are meant to be revealed, or whether knowing too much could create a dangerous chain reaction. One of the biggest themes in Outlander has always been the idea that changing history comes with a price. Claire learned this lesson many times. She wanted to protect the people she loved, but every choice created new consequences. Julia could face the same struggle in Season 2. She may believe that reaching Claire is the answer to all her problems. She may think Claire can simply explain how to return home and reunite her family. But Claire knows the truth. Time does not always give people what they want. Sometimes it gives them exactly what they need, even when they do not understand why. This could create a powerful, emotional conflict between Julia and Claire. Julia is a mother who wants to return to Henry. Claire is someone who has already experienced the pain of separation. She knows what it feels like to lose years with the person you love. Because of that, Claire may understand Julia better than anyone else. But Claire may also warn Julia about the dangers of chasing the past. She knows that some moments cannot be changed without causing greater pain. The question is whether Julia will accept that reality, or whether her love for Henry will push her to take even greater risks. Meanwhile, Henry's story could become even more complicated. If Julia and William are truly gone, Henry may spend Season 2 searching for a way to follow them. His desperation could lead him towards secrets about the Stones that have remained hidden for generations. Perhaps Henry will discover that time travel is not only about certain people having the ability to cross through history. Maybe there is a deeper connection between families who can travel. Maybe the Stones are connected to specific bloodlines, emotions, or moments of great importance. This possibility would explain why certain families in the Outlander universe are connected to time travel while others are not. It would also make Julia and Henry's story even more meaningful, because their love would become part of a much larger mystery. But there is another danger waiting for Julia. Even if she finds Claire, she may not be safe. The world she enters could be filled with conflicts, political struggles, and people who would see her knowledge as a threat. A person from another time carries information that could change the future, and that makes them extremely valuable. Claire understands this better than anyone. She has spent years hiding who she truly is because revealing the truth could put her family in danger. She knows that sometimes survival means keeping secrets, even from the people closest to you. This creates another interesting question. Will Claire tell Julia everything she knows about the stones, or will she protect her by keeping certain truths hidden? Claire has always been someone who carries the weight of difficult decisions. She wants to help people, but she also understands that every action has consequences. Helping Julia return to Henry could create problems that affect generations of their family. At the same time, Julia is not the same person she was before her journey. The experience of traveling through time will change her. She may arrive scared and uncertain, but with Claire's guidance, she could become someone much stronger. Their relationship could become one of the emotional highlights of Season 2. Claire would not just be helping Julia find her way home, she would be teaching another woman how to survive between two worlds. And that may be the true purpose of their reunion. Perhaps Julia was never meant to simply return to Henry. Perhaps the stones brought her to Claire because she needed to learn something first. Maybe she needs to understand the history of her family, the power of her choices, and the responsibility that comes with knowing the future. Blood of my blood. Season 2 has the opportunity to explore a side of time travel that Outlander has only touched on before. It can show what happens when someone new enters this mysterious world and learns that the stones are not just a doorway through time. They are a test of love, a test of sacrifice, and a test of whether someone is willing to accept that changing destiny may come with consequences. If Julia and Claire truly meet, their conversation could reveal answers fans have been waiting years to discover. But it may also create new questions that change everything we thought we knew about the Fraser family and the mysterious power connecting their past, present, and future. While the possibility of Julia and Claire's reunion has captured the attention of many fans, one question remains at the heart of Blood of My Blood Season 2. What happens to Henry if he is left behind? His entire journey has been built around one powerful idea: finding a way back to the woman he loves. But if Julia and William truly disappear through the stones, Henry's story could become one of the most emotional and unpredictable parts of the new season. Henry has already shown that he is not someone who gives up easily. From the beginning, his connection with Julia was tested by impossible circumstances. Their love was never simple, and every step forward came with another challenge waiting for them. They were constantly fighting against the world around them, trying to protect their family while keeping their relationship alive. But losing Julia and William would create a completely different kind of pain. For the first time, Henry would not just be fighting against enemies or circumstances. He would be fighting against time itself. The question is whether Henry will discover a way to follow Julia through the stones. If he does, it could completely change the direction of Season 2. Instead of Julia searching for a way back, the story could become about Henry crossing history to find his family. This would create an interesting parallel with Claire's own journey. Claire also lost everything familiar when she traveled through time. She had to learn a new world, adapt to different dangers, and survive without knowing if she would ever return to the life she left behind. Henry could face the same struggle. However, Henry's journey may not be as easy as simply stepping through the stones. The stones have always been mysterious. They do not open whenever someone demands them to. There are rules, conditions, and secrets that even experienced travelers do not fully understand. This means Henry may have to search for answers before he can reunite with Julia. He may need to uncover forgotten knowledge about the stones, perhaps from people who understand ancient traditions or from stories passed down through generations. And this is where the Fraser connection becomes even more important. The Outlander universe has always shown that family history matters. The choices made by one generation can affect the lives of those who come after them. If Henry begins searching for answers, he may discover that his journey is connected to the same history that shaped Claire, Jamie, and their descendants. The possibility of Henry becoming connected to the Fraser legacy opens many questions. Could he discover secrets about the family that were hidden for years? Could his search lead him directly to Claire? And if he does find Claire, will she help him reunite with Julia? Or will she warn him about the dangers of changing fate? These questions make Henry's storyline incredibly exciting, because unlike Claire, Henry is entering this world without experience. He does not know the dangers of traveling through time. He does not know how fragile history can be. His determination to find Julia could become both his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. Love can inspire people to do impossible things, but it can also make them ignore the risks in front of them. This could be one of the biggest emotional conflicts in Season 2. Henry may believe that reaching Julia is the only thing that matters. But what if finding her creates a new danger for their family? What if their reunion changes events that were never meant to be changed? Claire has spent years learning that some sacrifices are unavoidable. She knows that protecting the future sometimes means accepting painful choices in the present. Henry, however, may not be ready to accept that. His determination could put him in conflict with Claire's wisdom. Imagine the tension between them. Henry desperately wants Claire's help because she understands the stones. Claire wants to help him, but she also knows that every journey through time carries consequences. She may have to make the difficult choice of telling Henry a truth he does not want to hear, that Julia may not be waiting for him, or that reaching her may require a sacrifice. This kind of emotional conflict would make their possible meeting extremely powerful. It would not simply be two characters discussing time travel. It would be two people with completely different experiences trying to understand what destiny means. For Henry, destiny is something he wants to fight. For Claire, destiny is something she has learned to navigate. And somewhere between those two perspectives lies the answer to Julia's future. But Henry's problems may not only come from the stones. The outside world is also becoming more dangerous. The conflicts surrounding Brian, Ellen, the Grants, and the Highland families could create new obstacles that make Henry's search even harder. If powerful enemies discover that Henry knows secrets about time travel, he could become a target. Information from the future has always been dangerous, and people who want power may try to control anyone connected to it. This could force Henry into a difficult position. He may have to hide his true mission while searching for Julia. He may have to choose who he can trust and who he must avoid. And this creates another mystery. What if someone else knows about the stones? Throughout history, there have always been rumors of people who understood more than they revealed. The Fraser family is not the only family connected to unusual events. Blood of My Blood Season 2 could explore whether other characters have knowledge about time travel and whether they have their own reasons for keeping those secrets hidden. The more Henry searches, the more dangerous his journey could become. But at the center of everything is still the same thing that started this entire story: love. Henry and Julia's relationship has always been about two people refusing to accept that fate can separate them. Their love pushed them through fear, danger, and uncertainty. Now their greatest challenge may be distance across time itself. The question is not whether Henry loves Julia enough to search for her. The question is whether he is prepared for what he will discover when he finally reaches her. Because when Henry finally steps into the world beyond the stones, he may not just find Julia. He may find a truth about his family, his future, and the power of time itself that changes everything forever.